Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. Today's special guest is Vicki. Vicki, how are you?
Hello, Bernadette. I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome. Can you tell us where in the world you are?
So I am in East Yorkshire in the UK, and at the minute I'm absolutely freezing.
Well, I'm in Canada and we're frozen most of the time. Wow. So though it doesn't snow there or just cold?
Well, to be fair, most people don't class 11 degrees as cold, but I do because I'm like I must be
Yeah.
cold-blooded or something. Yeah, I couldn't live in Canada. Definitely.
Yeah, it's cold. It's really cold. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Vicki. So to start, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
I can, of course I can. So my name is Vicki Chisholm. I am a psychic transformation coach.
Mhm.
And my speciality is helping spiritual entrepreneurs
Mm.
get into soul alignment with their business and themselves. So I pull together a whole host of tools out of my box, but my psychic gifts are the ones that help us get to the root cause of who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, and what you're really here to serve for. A lot of my clients will come into this space of don't know what I'm doing, don't know where I'm going, I'm confused, I'm hitting roadblocks. Every avenue I try and navigate, I just end up stuck.
Mhm.
So my gift to the world is coming forward and getting them unstuck and into a soul aligned space of truth and having a business that they actually enjoy with fun and integrity and connection and abundance is the main one there.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
that's
Excuse me, hold on. You know, when I'm not
thank you.
talking, my throat does that. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. So I'm also a mum. I have 3 children. My eldest is 18. My youngest is just about to turn 13. So I'm starting to enter that phase of, oh, I get a life back now. Yay, let's have a party.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
And I ride motorbikes for fun. I have a fur baby. And yeah, just love changing and transformations like my real passion. It really is my passion of transforming lives, transforming businesses, transforming pain, transforming everything that we can possibly transform. It's elevate. That's what I like to do. Let's elevate.
that's awesome. That's really cool. Vicki, can you tell us when your gift started to develop and at what age?
Oh gosh, right. Okay. So what I remember was when I was about 13 years old and I used to have these dreams and they felt so real. And then 6 months or so later, that dream would come true, and I'd be in exactly the same place, at exactly the same time, at the exactly same wall colours, with the exactly the same people, revisiting that exact dream that I had 6 months prior. And everyone kept saying to me, "Oh, it's deja vu, it's deja vu." And no, this is different. This is not. But I just kept connecting it as deja vu. Go, oh, this is a bit freaky. Oh gosh, I actually had a dream about this argument taking place.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had a dream about being in this place at this time, and nobody got it. Nobody could explain it to me. I didn't have a clue. And by the time I was 17, I just suppressed that part of me. I didn't want to know.
Mhm.
But I was always drawn to it, like, oh gosh, like mediumship, Reiki, candles, crystals, tarot. You take me there because that's what lights me up. And I always hid it. I never wanted to really express it. And when I did express my interest in it, there was always someone that would kind of poo-poo it and make me feel like I was just ridiculous wanting to have anything to do with this life, this area of life at all. And
Mm.
so yeah, that's when it started.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I can say that you're not alone in what you experience when it comes to developing our gifts, because I think people fear what they cannot understand. And for me, I was, oh, geez, I don't know. I've been seeing things very young. I don't even remember how old I was. Again, as before we were talking, it's fear. Did you feel scared at any point?
I was absolutely petrified. No joke. So I suppressed a lot of it from the age of 17. And then some family and family friends had all been to see this local medium, and he was amazing, and everyone was raving about him. And I was so curious. I was like, I need to go. It's like this deep calling within me. I have to go and have a reading with this guy. You had to book him 6 months in advance. He was that busy. And on the day that I called him, he said, "You're really lucky, actually. I've got a space in 2 days. Do you want it?" Yes, of course I do. I'm off.
Wow.
So it was meant to be, I'm telling you. But the scariest part of my first experience with a medium was I ended up in trance.
Wow.
And that absolutely petrified me, because I was sat in a stranger's front room and he's talking to dead people with a Frank's box, and suddenly I'm paralyzed in my own body. I couldn't speak, I couldn't move, I could only hear and see, and I just couldn't, I froze.
Wow.
So he did his magic. He worked with it. He worked with the energy that was presenting, and he actually then drew what he saw. And what he saw was my Egyptian guide. My Egyptian guide had come through because apparently a spirit was trying to enter my body. Now, what he was also sharing with me that day was actually, gosh, this is a bit, I don't know, how deep can we go on this?
Go as
This
deep
is
as
quite
you want.
personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was a really interesting part of my journey. My paternal grandfather came through in this particular reading, and the medium himself got off the sofa, went down on his knees, and apologized so profusely. And I didn't understand what was going on. And he just kept saying, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." He said, "This energy that's coming through is literally down on his knees, and he's begging for forgiveness, and he just needs you to forgive him. And his name is Bob, and his name is this." And it was all coming through. And it was all clear. And honestly, you just couldn't imagine anything. I didn't understand what he meant then. And it took me another few years to understand what was coming through. So it was really, really surreal. And to have that kind of message come to you from someone who you kind of knew but didn't know. So interestingly, my paternal grandfather died when I was 13 years old. I went off the rails at the age of 13 for no apparent reason.
Wow.
And then that's also when I started having premonitions. So there was a lot connected with this time, and the messages that were coming through, the way the trance happened and everything that was going on. It was so surreal. So from that point, I ended up absolutely petrified. I had to join a spiritual circle to get myself grounded. I would go to bed at night and feel like I was levitating off my bed. I couldn't talk to anyone because nobody would understand me. I was literally going mad. So from that, I learned to calm the energy down by just shutting them off and not opening them up. So I didn't go to circles to develop my gifts. I wouldn't talk to anyone around it. I wouldn't go to spiritual fairs that really, really ignited me. I'd stay away from crystal shops. And as time went on, I was like, I can't avoid this.
Yeah.
I can't avoid this. I literally sat in, and this was a few years later. I was actually in an abusive relationship, and I had been for many years, but I wasn't aware of it. And it was getting to the point where I was starting to awaken to what was happening. And I was working from home in the conservatory, and my conservatory started to shake. And I was home alone, and there was no storm, and there was no anything else. And I just kind of sat there and went, okay, I'm not listening. You're trying to get my attention. What are you trying to get my attention for? I believe that must have been 2013.
Oh, wow.
2 years later, my life had evolved even further, and I saw my grandmother sitting on my daughter's bed. And she died when I was pregnant with my eldest daughter, but she was sitting on my daughter's bed and she was not happy.
Oh.
And I had to take a double look. I was like, she can't be there. But don't you? When you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And
yeah.
I was petrified. Like, I didn't know how to manage this. Where on earth is this going to go? How am I going to like facilitate this? I haven't got any help. Nobody gets it. I'm really alone with this experience. And then I sat and I thought, well, what is she trying to tell me? Because she's really not happy, and she wouldn't be here to tell me that she's not happy if it wasn't for a reason. And I believe now, gosh, this makes me really emotional.
Oh, it's
She
okay.
was telling me to leave.
Yeah.
Get out of the situation you're in because it's not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I took from it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that was probably the start of me really waking up to needing to get out of the situation that I was in.
Yeah.
So even though I was petrified of everything, I think at every point when I look back, things that were happening to support me rather than to hurt me. And I think if I had known that at the time, it probably would have helped.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Thank you for sharing.
Oh,
And
you're very welcome.
wow. Yeah, yeah, you're not alone. And I admire you sharing, and then the emotion that it triggers. And hopefully at the time it wasn't too scary over time. As you figure out why was she there. Did you see her like you're looking at me, or just a shadow foam, or
No,
how?
it was like a translucent version of her real being.
Oh,
So she was there in the real life, but I could see through her, but she was very still. I'll never forget it because it haunted me for a very long time. I just saw a dead person, help me, I'm going crazy, I'm nuts.
wow.
I put that limitations on myself. And so yeah, she was there, and I was just like, well, why is she there? Why is she sat on my daughter's bed? And she was looking like straight out of the window, very upright, very still,
Yeah.
like, I'm here and I'm making my presence known, but she wasn't in a position to try and hold a conversation with me. And it was just so surreal. Like, yeah, it was definitely coming out of the movies, I'm telling you.
Oh, wow. I remember seeing my grandfather. I was very young. I don't remember how old, but it's something that I never forget. And I
Yeah,
don't know why it was placed in my memory. Like, I'll never forget it. Because I saw him in shadow form, and I look again and he was there, and I look, he was gone. And to this day, I have the exact vision. And
yeah, you don't forget it. You really don't. And I think those memories stay with us to remind us of the power that we have within to see beyond what exists in the 3D life, and what we're programmed to believe and what we're programmed to feel.
Mhm.
And it's when we go against that's when life goes a little bit shit.
Yeah, yeah. Can you tell me what is the difference between premonitions and precognition?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually don't know precognition.
Okay. I know it, but I want to hear your
It's like a pre-knowing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't actually heard of that word before. But premonition, oh, hang on, it's cognizant. Cognizant is
no.
knowing.
Okay.
It's the knowing. So the pre-knowing is just that deep feeling of,
Mhm.
no, that viewpoint is not correct. This is the correct one. Or no,
Yeah.
you need to not go and do that because I've got a bad feeling here, and it's a deep knowing, and I know something bad's going to happen. Whereas premonition is where you are seeing something into the future that hasn't happened yet,
Yeah.
or it's like a pre-motion. So how I describe my own personal journey with premonitions is the dreams that I have, where I see things as they are. So experiences, places, people, conversations,
Mhm.
rooms,
Mhm.
and then suddenly I'm in it. I had a premonition I was going to be in Legoland, which is a UK theme park thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, lo and behold, and I remember specifically, I said to my best friend, I said, you will never believe this.
Yeah.
I'm in Legoland and I'm with that person,
Mhm.
and it just doesn't seem possible. How can that be right now? And lo and behold, 6 months later, somehow we'd ended up in Legoland with that person. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's fascinating. That's so cool. Wow.
So that's a premonition.
Okay, okay. So did you went through a spiritual awakening?
Yes, I did. Yes, and it was
Okay.
nasty and horrible and vile. I'm
Mine
not selling
too.
it.
Mine was terrible. It was
But,
awful. I felt like I was dying in rebirth. I don't know how to describe it because I was freezing and hot and I was terrified.
and
Yeah,
a
it
spiritual awakening is often one of the hardest times of your life.
mhm. They
But
call
when
it
you
dark
come,
night of the soul.
that's right. Yeah.
Oof.
Mhm.
I'll never forget it because that's how painful it was.
Yeah, I'll never forget mine, ever.
How long would you say
And
they last?
oh, mine mine lasted for about 2 years, and
Oh,
it felt like a constant battle.
mhm.
I was fighting the heart and the mind. I was fighting the reality and the spiritual side. I was fighting the love and the hate. I was fighting the fear and the calmness. I was struggling to comprehend the whole aspect of all of it. Well,
Yeah.
if I'm a spiritual being, why do I have all this hate? If
Mhm.
I am going through this experience to evolve, why does it feel so dark and miserable?
Yeah.
If I'm going through this experience to reshape my future, then why is it right now I feel like someone's just kicked me solidly in the gut? Why is it every time I'm trying to rise back out of this place, you're then
Yeah.
kicking me back down to the curb and telling me, no, you're going to stay down there until you learn your freaking lesson? And I'm like, well, what lesson? How am I supposed to learn if you don't tell me?
Yeah, yeah, that's literally been me. Like, it's frustrating because I don't know. I don't remember. We don't remember. That's the
Oh,
hardest part because I want to know. Yeah,
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 that was
it's
it. I
not
was
easy.
screaming for the answers, literally screaming, just tell me. And then have you ever seen those memes where you're like your
Oh yeah.
guardian angel is just standing there going, well, we've already told you about 80 times, but you're just not getting it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's tough. It's rough. It's not easy. Yeah. So
It's not.
what yeah, yeah. So you also channel. Can you tell me what type of channeling you do?
Yeah, so I definitely do psychic channeling, that's for sure. I tune into people and I see where they are. I go through their journey with them. So
Mhm.
before we jumped on the call, we did a little bit, didn't we? And I just saw the
Yeah.
tribal and I saw you dancing around the fires and being part of a really beautiful community. But in this life, I don't see you in the same light. It's like
No,
you're not embracing that community
no.
center, and actually it's what your soul is craving for right now. Your
Mhm.
soul is craving very much of connection, community, growth, and getting stability. But it was almost like when I was looking into the past life of where you were, there
Yeah.
was just so much love and so much collaboration within that community. You all just worked together, you pieced it together, and you were just so content and happy. And I think that's what your soul is craving right now, but you haven't found your tribe yet. That's what I'm channeling.
Yeah. No, no. And I think I've had too much pain and rejection and hurt and betrayal from people that I used to call friend, family members. So no, I crave it, but I haven't found it. I don't know if it exists. I'm doubting myself.
Okay, well, as someone who's been there, done that, got the t-shirts, what I can share with you, and notice how I said t-shirts,
Yeah,
not just
yeah,
one,
a few.
many of them. Right. So what I would do in that situation is I would actually work with you to go all the way back to the first time you were ever betrayed in your timeline, not just here in this lifetime, because
Mm,
we've got healing work to do. And that's what Dark Night of the Soul is. It's not about anybody else. It's about
mm.
learning to trust yourself. It's about learning to trust your own gifts. It's about learning to trust that you are not going to be betrayed anymore. Because while you're holding the fear of betrayal, what do we attract?
Betrayal. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's really hard to overcome that one. So I'm sending you lots of love for that. But
yeah.
eh, yeah, ultimately, it's that going deeper on that healing journey for you is what's going to catapult you into the future. And I'm seeing it. It's almost like you're going to go through a timeline quantum leap. But I don't want to say quantum leap because so much is attached to that, and there's so much,
Yeah.
not done in the right way, it can re-traumatize you. So we need to elevate your soul and spirit in a way that allows you to feel connected, safe in your own skin, and trusting in the process. And right now you're not in the space of trusting the process, is what I would be picking up, is what I am picking up on.
You're right. You are psychic. You're right. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. And no. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know how many times I've incarnated, but I'm not enjoying this one. I don't know if there was worse ones, but I don't know. My soul is in agony. And it's, yeah, I don't know.
Are you happy for me to tune in a bit more?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, I mentioned like your soul is craving that community, that connection, that growth, that tribe, energetic connection. It is here in this lifetime waiting for you, but you're the one that needs to show up for it. But that comes down to that level of trust. So your journey is about leveling out from the energy of trust and moving you out of the energy of lack of trust, and moving you into the energy of trusting the process and yourself. This is a self-love journey you need to go on right now. And I'm actually being told cacao, you either using cacao or you are about to start going on cacao ceremonies or something like that. Okay, cacao and womb ceremonies. Oh, you haven't done a womb healing session yet, have you?
No.
Okay. Okay. The guidance that I just received was for you to get into the cacao healing journey, because it opens up your heart center, which is going to allow you to step into self-forgiveness, and it will help you step into more self-trust. But I feel like you really need to go into compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And with that compassion is going to come so much more joy. But I feel like you need help and you don't know where to get that help from right now. It's like you haven't found the right person for you that can take you on that journey, that you trust enough to take you on that journey and support you and hold you. And that's what's holding you back now to go in the next steps.
Yeah, you're right. 100% right. Yeah. It's hard to trust humans, Yeah, like you said, betrayal. I gotta work on that, but it's gonna take time. Because I think I felt betrayed by my own family, my own parents. And I always say, if they can do that, they helped me come here and exit light in heaven wherever I was. And that's how they receive me. And so, and I've heard we plan everything to come down here. I'm still wrapping my head around that part, but like, there's no way. No worries. I'm like, there's no way. Like, how? Like, I have schizophrenia. That one terrifies me, and it also terrifies people. So I find sometimes people see me as this savage beast that society's trying to tame or they're afraid of. I don't know if that makes sense.
I hear you completely. And I was exactly where you were, in the terms of, I didn't ask for this shit.
Yeah.
But somehow I'm being dealt the cards to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then I remembered when I went through it, I'm here to have a big mission. I'm on this earth for a big reason. And that's why these challenges are coming at me, because I'm going to defy the freaking odds and I'm going to overcome everything that's been thrown at me. And one of these days, I'm going to rise taller than ever. And guess what? I did it. So if I can do it whilst raising 3 children from the gutter of autoimmune disease, PTSD, anxiety, depression, being told all of this crazy stuff about myself, when actually what I was really dealing with was extensive trauma that nobody had given me the right support for.
Yeah. 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 I agree. Thank you so much. What's cacao? What is that?
So cacao is a raw chocolate, and if you drink it as a hot
Oh,
chocolate, it helps to open up the heart center. But in I say in the spiritual woo-woo world, it's not. It's been a tradition for many years where women will use cacao to help open the heart center, but you do a ceremony with it. Are you still with me?
oh
Or
no, I'm with you.
frozen?
I was just writing it down with the word. I just never heard of it that way. Wow. I've heard of psychedelics, which I would never do. But
I would not recommend psychedelics.
no, no. But yeah, that's so cool. I love that you're picking up community and tribal, because when I listen to shamanic drumming and music, and I'm like,
That's
I
what I
think
tell
I
you then.
think I used to be a shaman, or something. Just the
No,
connection, the beat of it brings me a comfort.
it brings you home to yourself.
Hmm.
It's familiar. It's a familiar sound. It's like someone picking up a blanket and just wrapping you in it because you suddenly feel safe with that vibration, with that sound of this is my home, this is where I belong. And you're a star seed, and that's where your energy is like, take me home. But you are home.
I'm
What
not. I don't feel home.
you are, you just haven't found it within yourself yet.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that does. That makes sense.
And because of all the external noise and because of all the other people's judgments and criticisms and all of the things that have been placed upon you, things you've been taught through society, generational programming, the whole lot, you've got to this space in your life where you're like, I don't even know who the freaking hell I am anymore.
Yeah.
And this is the journey you're on. And when you open that door to saying, all right, I'm going to be a little bit curious here. What do I like? What don't I like?
Mhm.
Do I like beans on toast? Do I like flowers? Do I like that music or that music? Do I want to dance? Or you just do what I do and go ride a motorbike and go, yeah, I love this, let's go. And then,
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Face your fears.
it's a little bit of facing those fears because you have been so conditioned and programmed to not be who you truly are because other people are afraid of how people will perceive you. It's not about, and that's the thing about this 3D world that is so frustrating because if we
Yeah.
allowed you to be who you truly are,
Mhm.
you wouldn't then find yourself in this space of lost connection and disharmony.
Yeah.
You would be in a space where, I mean, if you heard the phrase, you can't choose your family, but you can definitely choose your friends.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Yeah.
I choose to switch that phrase.
Mhm.
I choose the friends that become my family.
Mm. Yeah.
And then that takes you to a whole different world altogether. And then suddenly you're in a tribe of people that you're like, this is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
This is where I was always meant to be.
Mhm. Yeah, you're so right, because it has been reversed all my life. I've met friends that have been there, uh, where my family hasn't, and they're right there, but they're not there. Yeah, I don't feel the love at all. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
And being a highly sensitive, intuitive that you are, you can sense when someone's being genuine and when they're not. And then that irritates you even more because you call them out on it and then you're pulled back
Mhm.
and you're questioning and doubting yourself, even though you know the truth.
Yeah, yeah. I just see through people. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, let's talk about your first experience with channeling. Can you tell us what is trance channeling or channeling? Is there a difference?
Oh, okay. So going into trance is very different. That's like letting spirit use your body. And I'm not comfortable with that. That's very invasive. And it's not
Ooh,
something I want to
yeah.
ever really repeat ever again.
Ooh.
But channeling, I don't know. Apparently, I've been doing it for years and years and years without even realizing I was doing it. So
Oh, wow.
when I opened my first business as a virtual assistant,
Mm-hmm.
I used to just feel into what my clients needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I would then just deliver what they needed without any questions asked. So here's a classic example. My client came to me and said, Vicky, I need to do this article for the newsletter, for the newspapers. She
Mm-hmm.
said, I've written it, but I need you to type it up, format it, and make it beautiful and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
She said, but I want it written from my words. And I was like, okay. So I writ it out for her, read it, and went, that is so crap.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere. But I did what she asked me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And behind the scenes, I tuned in and rewrote what she needed.
Mm.
So I'd sent off the one that she wanted, and she came back to me and she went, I don't think I like it. I don't think I want it to go out. And I went, I knew you were going to say that. So take this one, is one that I prepared earlier.
Yeah.
That one article, and it was based off feeling and trusting the information that was coming through and having to really connect. I know nothing about real estate. I know nothing about letting agents and running businesses in letting agents and all of that stuff, but I knew how to get this woman's PR copy bang on. So
Wow.
I did, and I sent it over to her. And from that point, she then got featured on a 3-page spread
Wow.
inside the local newspaper, the local courier, which is what was her ideal client. It's where I needed to go through house to house, door to door. She was featured on the front page, and then she had a 3-page spread inside. She had the radio station reach out to her for they wanted to interview her and come to her open day. She had a news channel contact her and want to interview her there, and it just exploded, that one article. And that was when looking back, that's one of the references where I can go, I channeled that, because I don't have a freaking clue what I'm doing. So for me to have been able to bring that information to light for her, that came from something else. It wasn't me.
Wow. That's awesome. When you channel, do you see thoughts? You hear voices, your third eye open? How does it work?
A lot of the time it starts off with a feeling. So this is okay, classic example. My clients will generally come to me because their business isn't working the way they want it to.
Mm-hmm.
I will tune in
Mm-hmm.
and just see where we're going. And I literally ask the question, where are we going with this? I've been asking that question for several years without even realizing that I'm channeling information with it.
Oh.
And I was like, where are we going with this? Because I can feel something's not right and I'm not sure. And then boom, I'm just giving the information. Sometimes I'll see it, but a lot of the time it's a feeling. And I'm like, okay, then the information just comes. So at the start, I started channeling with you before we even jumped on this podcast. And I was like, what? Because you were asking me questions and I look for solutions and give those answers, but I'm not giving those answers. They're coming from something else up there. So
Oh.
I'm therefore channeling.
Yeah.
And those answers that I gave you, I had a vision, but that vision came from a feeling of, I can feel you're not in
Mm-hmm.
your best space right now, and that's okay. There's no
Yeah.
judgment in that. There's no belittling with that, because
Mm-hmm.
we all go on a journey and we have to acknowledge where we are, because it's only in that acknowledgement that we can move forward. So thankfully today I've been able to give you some answers to your ancestral line.
Yes.
I said about the tribe and being in that, and hopefully that will bring you some comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember what else I was going to say with that.
Sorry, that happens to me all the time.
I know you were talking about channeling, but oh yeah, what happens when
Wait,
I am
yeah.
channeling? Sometimes it's just words, sometimes it's a color, sometimes it's a vision, sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's a yes, no, maybe. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
And sometimes I won't even be able to even engage with a person,
Oh,
and
wow.
it will just be blank. Which is really weird. I get a bit worried when it's blank, because I'm like, that's not normal for me. Like, I'm normally quite good at tuning in, and
Yeah.
why am I getting a blank? And a lot of the time it's because the person's very guarded and isn't given permission for it. So that's also a being aware.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see anything sort of blink with me?
No,
Oh,
No,
Okay.
you're open to receiving the answers. You're open to you've got that curious mindset of I'd like to learn because I want to help myself.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that don't have that.
Oh,
They
wow.
don't want to know. They don't want to connect. They don't want anyone to see them because they don't want to be seen at all.
Mhm.
Um, that's going to take us down the witch wound chair discussion, but I can save that one for another day because that's a magical one that just alights. I've literally just finished a 3-day witch fest,
Oh,
and it was just so liberating.
do you want to
Completely.
share anything about it?
Oh, we can do. So, beginning of September,
Mhm.
I received a magical download. And it was a boom, smack in your face. You need to run with this idea.
Mhm.
It has to happen. You're on a mission to serve. You've got to elevate the souls and you need to start clearing out witch wounds, Vicky. That's what you're doing. Really? Really? So this year, the universe has made me own my psychic gifts. And now it's getting me publicly to share that I am here to heal soul and witch wounds. Okay, as part of my package and my toolbox. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to have a bit of fun with this. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So I ran a 3-day online witch fest with some amazing magical souls. On day one, I helped them discover what their witch wound was, but I actually took them on a journey to go all the way back and really connect and open to their intuition. That was probably a really amazing part of the
Mm.
process because a lot of people don't realize they're already using their intuition
Yeah.
and they don't connect with it being their intuition. So day one was all about doing that connection work and establishing where they're at. So it
Mhm.
was only meant to be an hour. I think we ended up being online for 2, but it was great. And then day 2, we went into the okay, now is the witch wound healing time. So we're going to go back to those times when you were holding on to that fear of repercussion, where you were persecuted, where you were made to feel that you had to be silent and quiet and shut up and sit in a corner and put a dark cloak over you and don't you dare let anybody see what you are creating because it's not okay in this society. So we did all of that, which was just absolutely mind-blowing. The
Mhm.
answers that came up, the journey for the group members that attended, it's changed their lives, literally
So
changed their
amazing.
lives.
Wow.
And then last night, which was Halloween, we did some spell work.
Ooh.
So we tuned into the energies and I just kept it really simple. Just one white candle,
Yeah.
a piece of paper, using your mind, using your body, energetically vibrating and connecting to where you want to go, what you want to manifest, clearing out the energies that are preventing you from manifesting, and bringing in all the things that you do desire. And it was just so magical and amazing and beautiful. And I literally put a post on my Facebook this morning and I literally wrote, it was either this morning or last night, I can't even remember. It's been so mad, all in a good way, by the way.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, hold on a second here, right? If you had told me 3 years ago that I would be showing up online
Yeah.
as a witch, supporting other witches to clear out energetic ancestral baggage that is preventing them from rising and being seen in their businesses today,
Mhm.
I never would have believed you. As I said, you're talking a load of shite. But here I am and I'm doing it.
Wow, that's so fascinating and powerful. Wow. How do you know someone is a witch? I think I might have been at one point.
Absolutely. You've got so much in there. It's unreal. I could sit here and unpack it all day. Anyway, so how do you know you're a witch? Well, you can have a look at some of the witch wound signs. Don't want to be seen, don't want to be heard, don't want to connect to
Mm.
yourself, don't want anyone else to see the true power that you have inside. You're afraid of your own power. You don't like speaking up in case someone judges you or criticizes you or pulls you down. Um, you're afraid of persecution. Perfectionism is a massive one for the witch wound because it brings up the fear of abandonment, rejection, being seen for not being perfect. If you're not perfect, you don't fit into society. If you don't fit into society, there's something wrong with you. Is that person a bit weird? And they're just like there's so many things that you could do to unpick it, but the best way is to intuitively connect and get you to
Mm.
feel into the I mean, I could do a little practice with you now.
Okay, sure.
connect with some intuition. I'm not going to go deep on this, by the way, so I'm just giving you,
Okay.
this is a very safe way to just connect.
Yes.
So all we do is just taking some deep breaths, play your hands over your heart, breathing in and exhaling. And we're just going to ask the subconscious and the intuition to step forward now, just to give us a little idea. If I had a witch wound in a previous life, what year would my most prominent witch wound exist on? Breathing in, breathing out, and then tell me what year comes to mind first. Don't overthink it. Trust in the information you're being given.
1500s.
Okay. Can you be more specific?
1560.
Perfect. So the trick there is to learn that you have just connected to your intuition. You've just connected to a point in your life where you were holding something that is holding you back in this current life. And it's also, that exercise has just proven to you that you do have an intuitive edge. You can listen to it, and it is there to guide and support you. It's not there to hurt you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's helpful for so many that maybe witches, from other lifetime, to hear all the things you just described. I could say, for me, they're spot on. I think I'm slowly moving from that, but I keep going back and forth, and I know I'm not alone as well. But that's so cool that you do that.
Yeah, you're absolutely not alone. So, as you know, for Halloween, I wanted to have a bit of fun and connect with the witch wound. Now, some people do see the witch wound as much more sacred, as much more serious. The way I work is actually, it's a journey and it's a process. We don't have to make it as serious as what it is. And actually, when we become the observer to where we need healing, that's when we reclaim our power to releasing all of the things that have been holding us back. Yeah. So I actually use it as more soul wounds rather than witch wounds. But again, I just wanted to have a bit of fun for Halloween, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Like I was sharing earlier before the recording, Halloween is not my night.
No.
It's not my night. I felt that my room was full of visitors, and it was overwhelming for me, and I was petrified. And I didn't know what to do about it other than crawl in my skin and hope I sleep.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So there are lots of tactics out there that you can use. But again, my teachings and my support would be, let's find the right way for you to take control of this situation. Because if I give you a strategy and you go away and it doesn't work, it's because it's not the right strategy for you. It's got to feel safe, it's got to feel embodied, and it's got to be in a way where you are reclaiming your power. And I suppose this is where it gets a bit tricky with Google. People will go and find Google and they'll find ways to cope, and they'll find situations, and then they actually make it 10 times worse themselves because they're going into the situation with an already fearful mind. And the fearful mind brings more fearful experiences. So again, I would suggest that we find the right way for you to manage and cope with the gifts that you have.
Yeah. Let's talk about spiritual alignment.
Okay.
What is it?
Good question. I'm going to keep asking that myself, I think. Right. So spiritual alignment does it need to be spiritual to be aligned?
No,
it doesn't. Absolutely not. What is alignment? I think is the question. And alignment it's about you being completely in flow, not being fearful, not being in someone else's, or not acting from someone else's mind, acting from your own. Being in alignment is saying, this is the right path for me, and saying, no, thank you to all that is not. It's about acknowledging what lights your soul up and what doesn't. So my clients generally, as I've mentioned, they'll come to me about their business, you know. I'm not in alignment with my business. I know you're not, dear. I can see it and I can feel it. Like typical.
Yeah.
But what make it in alignment?
Mhm.
Find what you enjoy.
Mm.
What's misaligned in your business to make it not work? The cash flow. Okay. So let's unpick that. Is it really cash flow that's not aligned, or is it the fact that you're doing stuff you don't want to be doing? Whose voice are you listening to? Tom, Dick, and Harry's, every single business coach out there? Or are you listening to your own intuitive guidance that's telling you what's going to launch you to success?
Mm.
Oh, let me just guess. I can almost guarantee you're listening to someone else's voice, you're listening to someone else's strategy, you're listening to someone else's belief about how you should run a business. You're not following your core values. And that's a big one.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. And I find with programming and the way society run, it's very hard to find alignment. We have to fight for it. And when we do, we're shunned, or we're the black sheep who's not molding or fitting in.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to challenge you on this one. So bear with me. I do believe they're limiting beliefs. That's a core programming of I have to hustle, I have to fight, it has to be difficult, I'm not allowed to be who I am. And when you unpick those and you get to the core of who you really are, you won't need to feel that anymore. And you won't have those beliefs. Those beliefs are generational.
Mhm.
They are definitely ancestral. And they're coming from a oh, okay. So just coming through here, it's like you've got a soul contract attached to struggle, because it's safer for you to be in an energy of struggle than it is for you to be in an energy of success. Because in the struggle is what people expect from you. In the success is the unknown, the lack of confidence,
Mhm.
and it's the, well, what will people think of me if I'm successful? And that's actually part of the witch wound, soul wounds as well.
Ooh, I believe you. Wow, wow. Do you talk about those topics on your podcast? And what is the name of your podcast?
So my podcast is Tapping into Abundant Success, and it's for spiritual entrepreneurs, and we talk all things crazy woo-woo stuff. So yeah, my podcast last week was about radical alignment, believe it or not. And I've got a brilliant podcast coming out next week from one of my clients who talks about embodying her CEO energy, because when she came to me, she wasn't in her CEO energy. So she did my 6-week one-to-one intensive, and she niched down, she leveled up, she gained confidence,
Wow.
and she came and shared her journey. So that will be going out next week.
Mhm. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to have a session with you, because I have a podcast and that's not something I would normally do. Excuse me, because I blend in, like I stay in the background, even in classrooms. I've never been the one to stand up and speak in front of crowds. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
So because I've already tuned into your energy, and I've done quite a lot of channeling for you today, I
Mhm.
would actually recommend the radical realignment. And
Oh,
that would be the one where we tune into your energy, we shift out of the fear of being seen, we do some soul wound clearing, we realign your chakras, we embody what you do desire, we shake up the confidence, we find your flow with really where you want to be and where you want to go. And I can feel right now you haven't got clarity yet, because you're so bogged down with all this other stuff that's suppressing you. Finding your light is becoming the challenge. So our work together would be to dig deep, unlock that light, and help you elevate your soul. And then we'll do the rest of the work to bring you back into alignment. The Radical Alignment Intensive is just unbelievable.
mhm. How long is that? An hour or more?
Oh, that's a 6-week program. It's
Oh,
intensive. So
oh,
you
it's
have
longer.
weekly sessions with me. Yeah. You have 6 sessions with me, and you're with me on Voxer Monday to Thursday.
Mhm.
So you can tap into the psyche and the energy healing when you need it. And obviously you have the business development as well.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. So, Vicky, where can my listeners find you and support your work?
Okay, well, first of all, go and check out the podcast, Tapping into Abundant Success. It has reached into the top charts of Apple a few times this year, and I'm bringing in lots of different guest experts. We do try and keep them quite short, sweet, but powerful.
Yeah.
You definitely want to go and check out the Radical Realignment podcast that I did last week. That's got quite a punch in it for 30 minutes. And you can find me on Instagram, the Spiritual Entrepreneur Hub. You can find me on Facebook under Vicki Chisholm, or you can come and join my free community, the Spiritual Entrepreneur Hub. No, sorry, let me rephrase that. The Spiritual Entrepreneur Growth Group on Facebook. And at the moment, I'm just about to launch a global project. So if global projects, community, connection, really interest you, then do come and get involved, because 2024 is the glow up year.
Glow Up. That I watched that show. It's a makeup show on Netflix from the UK, I think. Have you heard
I
of
have no idea. I just love the
It's
word
called
glow up.
Glow Up. They do makeup and art. I love that kind of stuff. I paint, but I want to do body art. I'm getting into that. That's fascinating. Sorry, but that's the name of it. It's called Glow Up.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
well, I just heard it as a term, so you learn something new every day here.
yeah,
So yeah, I just heard it as a term, and I just love it, because I want to take everyone with me on a massive glow up next year in their businesses.
yeah. That's awesome. I have one final question for you, Vicki. What
Yes.
is the meaning of life for you?
Oh my gosh, the meaning of life for me. There are so many, but I think the main one for me is service. I'm here to serve. I'm here to change. And being in my area of transformation, I have to serve. It's my soul calling. I can't not serve and be of service to the world that we're currently living in. Whether it be serving my children and helping them be who they truly are, aware of their own gifts and their own special talents, and the way that they want to integrate into the world, to serving people who are ready to make a difference.
Yeah, I love
So yeah, I think that's my meaning of life, is to be of service, but to have a lot of fun along the way.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Vicki, for coming on the podcast. Thank you for tapping into my vibration and energy, and for giving me a bit of comfort today. It's been a terrible night and interesting week. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this space, this time, and to be able to support you, even if it was just for this moment.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.